Hi everybody, it's Carla from Colorado, and I know it's been a while. I think my last Floss Tube video was in January, maybe. So I have done a few things since then, so I thought today I would share, since it's now, I'm not sure, but I think it's getting close to the end of March. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's March 23rd. And it's not a Sunday, so I like to do my videos on Sunday morning because it's usually quieter, but I have an opportunity today because it seems to be pretty quiet right now, and the buses and stuff have all gone by, and the kids aren't outside playing their music and slamming doors. So, all right, so since we last met, I went through this weird phase where I just didn't want to cross stitch. I mean, think about it. January and February for me are usually the hardest months of the year. It didn't used to be like that. It used to start around the middle of September and go on till about right now. And that was when I was younger, but now it just seems to happen more towards the end of December into January and February and stuff. But this year was kind of hard, but I don't know why. Have no idea. But I survived that. I mean, I think everyone goes through a little bit of ho-hum during February, you know. So I sure did. Not really liking that. So during that time, I didn't do that much stitching. I did work on Ink Circles tapestry a little bit. A little fuzz on the back here. There we go. And that's as far as I've gotten on that. It's a real pretty piece, and I really like working on it, but you know, I figured I'd try stitching on this and see if it brought back a little of the stitchy bug, but sadly, as pretty as this is, it did not. Sadly. And so something I did during the interim is I got on Etsy and I found these lovely crochet needles. And I want to show these to you because if you have arthritis and it hurts to use, do I have a straight needle handy? I do not. Anyway, the straight needles, you know, you gotta really grip them because they're slidey and you know, and then after a while you're just like, you know, because your wrists and your joints and your hands cramp up, and next thing you know, you got pain up your arms and your elbows, and you're just falling apart, right? Well, you need to try these, seriously, because look at this. Boing, 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 boing. Look at that. So you hold it like this, and it flexes in your hand. So let me show you what I was able to accomplish when I couldn't cross stitch, but I still wanted to do something with my hands, and because of these, I was able to do that. So first of all, I finished this great big giant Big Mama Chicky bag, and I had already made this and had this button here to kind of go with a little bit. And then So I'd finished this, which was wonderful. I think I showed this to you guys before, I don't remember. And then for Valentine's Day, I'm sorry about this, I don't know what's in my throat today. Hang on. Okay, maybe that cured whatever it was. Anyway, so my son and I were out having lunch one day, and I was explaining to him that I needed a new machine because my possessed sewing machine, it just wasn't going to cut it for what I wanted to do, and that was to make the floss pad so I can reopen my Etsy store and start selling again. And so while we're eating, we were at Olive Garden, so I was having the all-you-could-eat lasagna, but oh my gosh, it's so good. You want to eat more, but seriously, one serving is enough. So I got another one to go, so score. And so while we were doing that, my son found a Singer, I believe it's called a Simple. Let me look at it. Singer Simple. Yeah, I just need a basic machine because you don't need anything fancy. I mean, I've been sewing for years. I've never needed anything fancy. All the stitches that you want to do are already there on the machine. It's, you know, and of course my kids bought me the box of foots so that I could do all these other stitches properly and, you know, try out some new things that I've always wanted to do with different materials that, you know, I would have to painstakingly use my iron for, and to be careful not to melt the fabric, you know. So he got me the sewing machine, and of course then I picked up a bunch of fabric and started sewing these. This is just a little bit of what I have. These are the floss pads. They're not complete yet. As you can see, I still have to sew up the little, you know, flipping it inside out corner. Once these are all sewn up, I can throw them in the wash, make them super fluffy so that your yarn can stick to the fabric better because it needs to be fluffier. So I can show you what it does now. So I put that on there and you see it, whoops, it comes right off. Great for product. So let me grab that and try again. Now this is, what is this? Oh, this is the gassed thread Gentle Arts. Okay, so usually what I do is I just pat it on there and it stays. But, you know, in this case, it does stay for the most part. I'm so sorry. And will stay once it's been fluffed up a little bit. Let me show you the one that has been washed, and you'll see what I mean. I have to take all my floss off. Get off. Kind of a struggle. There we go. Okay, so you can see the difference on this one. I don't know if you can or not. It's a little fluffier. And the threads, they do stay on better. And, you know, give it a little shake. There you go. But when you have your pad there, I've had this fall on the floor, and I would say 95% of my flosses just stay on the pad. There we go. You gotta give it a little. So you see the difference. So once I wash these, they will be this quality and life will be grand. So I've decided I'm going to sell them for $10 a piece on my Etsy shop when that reopens. And I'll do a special floss tube when that happens, so everyone can go in and give it a try. I would just love it if you did, because these floss pads are awesome. And so I have piles of these, and I don't know. I know some people care about, you know, which one they're going to get or what have you. So I'll try and put the listing with kind of like a rainbow of what it looks like, but it's, I don't know, if you want a particular color, if there's a color like that there, then, you know, we can move forward. But so I did that with my grape machine. I use that machine almost every single day for something. I mean, this machine is like a breath of fresh air, and I'll insert a picture of that right here so you can see that it is awesome. Yes, I did put bling on there. I had a machine years ago that I'd had for probably 20 years, and when I left Seward, Alaska to go down to Arizona to take care of my mother while she was going through chemo and radiation, I kind of sold everything. I sold my stash, I sold my machine. I did not sell the cross-stitch stuff. That is something I couldn't live without, but you know, I figured if all my attention is going to be right there, I can't be running to an ironing board or to a sewing machine or doing a bunch of cutting, and cross stitch is more compact. So, you know, I've been with cross stitch a lot longer than doing the quilting and sewing. So, well, no, not true. I mean, I've been sewing since I was a kid, but whatever. Anyway, it just wasn't as much of a priority as the cross stitch. So my beloved machine that also had butterflies and flowers and unicorns on it, that was sold to a really nice woman in Seward who probably bought most of my stash. She went nuts. So yeah, I honestly could not tell you what the deal was with the possessed machine, because when I bought that one, it was issues from day one. And because it had been on sale and it was discontinued, probably because it was possessed by the devil, I don't know. I try as I might to get a hold of somebody to fix it or replace it, they just wouldn't do it. So I said, okay, I'll struggle on. And struggle I did. I mean, there were times I wanted to make some clothes, or, you know, I want to do more quilting and stuff. I want to finish some of the toppers that I have, and I couldn't do it. So, because the possessed machine would either eat the fabric or it would do this weird thing with the thread, you know, and I thought it was the bobbin. Maybe it's the wrong bobbin, so I tried different sizes. Didn't help. Yeah. Anyway, back to these. So, because I got the new machine, I was able to get some fabric, put in a nice lining, and just so you know, that around the edge here, that's all hand sewn. I just quickly sew up the lining and then stick it in the bag like this. Ta-da! Isn't that pretty? Yeah, I like the fabric. So I was able to finish this, which was something I've been struggling with for a couple years. It was in my knitting bag and just stuffed in there with some other things. So I finished that, and that's going to go in my Etsy store. And then I finished Terry's book bag. This thing is monstrous. There are 3 balls of yarn here. I'm sure you can tell by the different colors, but it's just gorgeous. And it's huge, and it has this really pretty fabric inside. Yes, new sewing machine. I'm looking at it now. Oh, I know it knows I love it, because angels sing every time I go by the sewing machine, so that's always nice. I don't know. Anyway, so here's Terry's book bag. I have been ordered, not asked nicely, but told. I was told I need to make another one of these. No problem, because I have these now, and I can do all the crochet in the world with those bad boys. So this one is actually, it belongs to someone already. They bought the yarn for it. I just finally finished it, and I just love it. You could put a bunch of stuff in here because it's huge. Look at how big that is. I mean, my head's pretty big, but it covers it up really well. Nice handles. I love the handles. Oh gosh. Anyway, so I'll be making another one of those with the odds and ends balls of yarn that I have, because I know this one takes 3, and I love it. So we'll see how that goes. And then I did make, and I don't know if I shared this, I'm going to have to go back and look, but what prompted me to look at different crochet needles like these guys, and I think, one moment. Okay, I was trying to find the package that these came in, but what I'll do is I'll put a link down below for you guys to go check these out. You get the whole set, all of these, and there's this one here as well. I'm using this one right now. This is a 2.5 millimeter. Doot. Aren't they pretty though? So pretty. Bendy, 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 bendy. Okay, so I'll put the link down below for them. They're only $20 on Etsy. So get excited. For those of you who felt like you couldn't crochet ever again, you need to try these. So last year I had crocheted 3 fingerless gloves, 3 pairs of fingerless gloves for my girls. My other girlfriend, she too crocheted 3 pairs, and then once the exchange happened, I was able to compare the way she did it with the way that I did it, and I liked what she had done. So I had actually, I'm making another pair. I'm going to show you now because I know the person that will be receiving these probably won't watch this video. So hopefully, fingers crossed, because normally I won't show. But I did make this pair here, but I did it the way, look at that sparkly fabric. Oh, look at that. I absolutely love these. And yes, I'm wearing them. Just a little clamshell edging. And it's just, oops, this one's crooked. There we go. Put it on there, right? So, as you can see, these are just, they're lovely. And by combining 2 different styles, I could probably write the directions down now so that my partner in crime, when it comes to crocheting the gloves, we can start matching when we do our evil plans. And for the giftee for these ones, she has a daughter. And it's funny because I had asked her, you know, how big her daughter's hands were, and she actually sent me a picture of their hands, you know, palm up, side by side. So I was able to guesstimate how big the next pair should be. So mom and daughter are both going to get a pair from this one ball of yarn. So this particular yarn is a Lang, and sparkly, very gorgeous. The last stuff that I used was the Zauber ball, And I'll insert those pictures right here for you. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Now those first 3 gloves, they were done with a straight needle, a straight crochet hook. And it was painful and it was hard. And sometimes I cried because I felt like a bad person, like, you know, this is hurting so much, I don't want to do it anymore, but I promised, you know. You ever do that to yourself? You're like, my legs are broken, but I'm still going to make it to the finish line because I said I would. No, but I did finish, and I'm actually sad that I didn't find these sooner, because if I'd had these, what took 8 to 10 hours to make one glove would have taken me maybe 4 to 5. And there wouldn't have been any crying. It just would have been all joy. So I can't say enough about these. I honestly can't. So don't forget to hit that link down below and check them out. They are brilliant. I just love them. So knowing that I have these, knowing that I finished those 2 big things, the Big Mama Chicky bag and Terry's book bag, I also finished this because it was in the knitting bag. And some of you may have seen this. This was a slouch hat that I had on DeviantArt. Oops, there we go. Now I'm all beautiful. Ta-da! Let me turn around so you can see the whole thing. In your face. Is this how you model a hat? Maybe go... I don't know. Anyway, the yarn was a... was it a birthday or a Christmas gift? I think it was a birthday gift from my girlfriend Cindy in Alaska, and one of our special times when we went to Joann's and spent hours in there just talking and browsing and going through all the stuff and everything, and this yarn, she says, "Oh, this is so you," because I was like, "Wow, this yarn's really pretty. What could you make with that?" Well, I went on Ravelry and looked for some hat patterns and ended up somehow on the Lion Brand website and found the slouch hat pattern on Lion Brand. I did change like I do. Yes, the pattern is super great and it's awesome and it's wonderful, but I didn't like certain aspects of it. So instead of doing a back and forth, you know, crochet this way, and just doing the band that way, I did the Tunisian stitch right there. So I did that all the way around until, you know, it fit my head. And then I could go from there with, I went around the top right here doing single crochet, and then I started the V-stitch. So then it says in the pattern that you're just supposed to do it all the way around to the end and then do a slip stitch through the end and tighten it all up so it's like this horrible sack on your head. I didn't like that. So what I did was I started reducing by doing, let's see if you can see this properly. Instead of doing the V-stitch, I just did a double crochet and then kind of dropped one until I got to here and then ended that. But it slouches perfectly, as you can see. It slouches perfectly. And let me turn it around. Kapow! So you can see that. And I think it looks nice. You know, you might have a different opinion than I do about it, but that's okay. Everybody has to make it their own, right? And I did. I guess I'm not really a bad crocheter. That never made sense to me. Are you a crocheter, or are you a person who does crochet? Crochet, what a word. I do have a book. I have 2 books for knitting and crochet written by the same person. I think it's written by Edie Ekman, who also did the motif books, but I'll have to look. So I'm not a liar. Anyway, been doing that for years. So that's the deal with the gloves and the crocheting and all the wonderful things. And finally, after doing the sewing, which makes me so incredibly happy, finishing all the things and emptying out my knitting bag, I was able to cross stitch again. And so I made the February Neglected Floss Biscornu, and then I made the March Neglected Floss Biscornu. Very cool. There's the back. Oh, I should show you the back on that. Ta-da! And because I had gotten started on that, and it was according to my year's schedule that I have set up in my planner already, it was time to start and finish this year's spring project, because what was it, last year or the year before? It was last year when I realized that Easter's a fun time, or spring in general is a fun time, and there should be a spring display in my home, because Halloween, oh yeah, this place is taken over by Halloween everything, right? Christmas, it's not as, I don't know, exciting or explosive as Halloween, but I still have a lot of things. But any other time of the year, no. So last year I started collecting, and you can see right here my Easter display behind me with a lot of the stuff in the basket. And right here it's a lavender chicken, and it's still, they call it a lavender hen pincushion sachet paperweight. It even has the price on there. I didn't notice that before. I left the tag on. Cindy bought this for me as well. We went to the craft fair, and that's where we found it. And so I had stitched up Sweet Spring by Satsuma Street last year, as you know. And then this year I did Nest Egg. Isn't that lovely? So there's a flower that Jody Rice has on Satsuma Street. I also want to do that. And I'm doing them all on the Gossamer 28 count Lugana by Picture This Plus. And because I want it to be the whole theme, so it makes sense when they're all up there, because the colors are so pretty and should be on Gossamer. So there's a flower, and then there's another pattern there that I've had longer than this one and that one called Garden Cat, and I want to stitch that one up as well on the Gossamer, so that I'll have quite a few. So then when Jody comes out with more yearly Easter patterns, I can just add on instead of trying to play catch up, because it's silly. Let's see if I can get that without breaking my back turning around. Okay, so there's all that. And so the Biscornus, Nest Egg, and then I just finished this lovely bookmark. I love it. And I was able to use my sewing machine to put this backing on there. So not professionally cut fabric, I'll let you know right now. After I had chopped the fabric off, because there was excess fabric going around the outside, I was like, you know, you could have used your rotary on that, it would have been fine. Nope, I'm gonna do it the hard way. Hack, hack, hack. It doesn't look too bad, it just doesn't look I don't know, for me, as professional as it could, but you know what? It's still super pretty. It's got a nice back, and it's going to be in a book, which it is, actually. From my 301 reading list of The Stranger by Albert Camus. So there's that. And then in preparation for the Magical Mystery Cell, there was the March 1st? I don't remember. The first 2 pre-stitches just came out, and I did those. See if I can get that up there so you can see it properly. Yay. And I'm using Jody Ree fabric, Jody Ree flosses. So I have 2 different flosses on here. One, the main one that I use to start with is called Bubbling Cauldron. And then the outside one, oh heck, let me grab that because I don't remember what it's called. Oh, here we go. Nope, not it. Oh, dang. No. Oh, here it is. Duh. Okay. I was looking right at it. All right, so the fabric is the 28 count opal cashel linen, and it is the April 2017 limited edition After the Rain. Take the pattern out, and then so the second floss is called Rainforest. So here's Bubbling Cauldron, very nice. And I just started bobbinating my Jody Ree onto some plastic bobbins I found at Hobby Lobby. And then Rainforest. It's brighter green than it looks. It looks kind of bleh there. But that's what I've gotten so far. I figured, you know, I'm going to see how it goes. And apparently, I wasn't the only one who thought to go about this differently, because when I spoke to Magical about, or when I showed her the first colors, she kind of freaked out a little bit because she insists that the first 2 colors should be 2 different greens, a dark green and a light green. Or that there should be, oh gosh, I don't even remember the conversation now. I just know that I had to laugh because I don't know. I mean, this makes me wonder if someone designs a pattern, a cross-stitch pattern, and then they see someone do something that's just way different from what they had in mind. How many different designers are actually bothered by that? Or, you know, and it made me wonder. So I kind of had to laugh at her because, you know, I personally think this is gorgeous. I think it's pretty, it's sparkly, it's got some lovely greens, and it's very spring. And I guarantee that the other colors that are going to be in here are going to be vibrant, bright spring colors, because I am forcing spring on the world, whether it wants to be spring or not. I need it. And I am confident that many of you out there do too. So let's all do spring together, shall we? Put these away. There we go. And then after I finished the bookmark, I started Lizzie Kate's Spring. Now you can see on this picture, let's see if I can do that. There we go. You see how they want it to look. I'm going to show you now how it's going to look. in my case. So that's as far as I've gotten. I'm afraid I might have to rip out this top border all the way back to the end, the side, because as I found out, when I got to these two long border parts right here, and then got up here, this first border right here wasn't matching up with this one. And it was because of right here. I did 2 stitches in between, so I counted down 2 and then started on the 3rd, which is wrong. It should only have 1 space in between there. So, but you know, you can barely tell. But when you get to the top, it might create issues, and I don't want to adjust the spring pattern any more than I have to. And I don't usually stitch from the bottom up, but in this case I kind of felt I had to because I was filling in the words. So I wanted these bottom parts to at least match, because the rest of the pattern, you know, it's all like rooftops and birds and trees all the way across, so why not? So that's where I'm at on that, and now I want to stitch it again, but I'm so happy that, you know, I'm stitching again and I've relaxed enough to actually do what I want to do. But I don't know if you can see this, but there's that. And as you know, I've already started the project in winter, so winter's actually first and then spring is second. So it'll be winter, spring, summer, autumn, because, you know, stuff. Because I did the first one in winter. That's how it's going to be, darn it. So let me think. What else is new? One of my girls, Crystal, was going to make a how to correctly become a stitching pirate on DeviantArt, because we had a run of stitchers who wanted to be stitching pirates, not only on the Facebook group but on DeviantArt, but they couldn't figure out how, or they were doing it wrong. They were hitting watch instead of join, or they were doing something. I'm not exactly sure what they were doing, but I get it. If you're in a hurry, you're not really going to be wanting to read all the stuff or look for a button that says join, you know. So Crystal was going to do a video tutorial and explain how to go about creating an account on DeviantArt and then going into groups and finding stitching pirates. So currently though, she just signed. This has been going on for like a month and a half. She says, hey, I got this idea, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so great. You know, I would love to put that on my Floss Tube video. And then her and her husband went and bought a house, and today they signed the papers. This weekend they're going to be moving. I mean, she's just been, you know, going crazy. So the poor thing. So she hasn't had time to do the video. So hopefully she'll be able to do that. But in the meantime, just to let everyone know, for now, I do have to admit this. There are a few stitchers out there who wanted the Stitching Pirates pattern and needle minder for free. And when I received messages and notes from them, they were very aggressive. You know, I didn't really appreciate that. And so I talked to our captain and asked that it be taken down for a while. I believe that when I when I'm ready to have it put back up again, it's only going to be for members who have been a member for 6 months or longer. So you can't just sign up and get the pattern in the minder and then nag me forever and ever for not sending the minder immediately with tracking. I send everything with tracking, so that's never an issue. I do have 2 or 3 minders sitting over on my table that do need to be sent out. But I just felt very used, and I felt that the stitching pirates were being taken advantage of on some kind of level. I mean, granted, all of Magical's patterns are free. She wants them to be free. She wants people to stitch them. You know, here's something, you know, especially if you can't afford to spend a lot of money on patterns or what have you. It's always nice to have these options, you know, like when, you know, a famous designer gives away free patterns. Oh yeah, I'm going to have those. You betcha, because I love that designer, but I also have a ton of her patterns, or his patterns, depending on who the designer is, you know. So I don't know. I just I had to stop. And for those of you who went in honestly wanting to be a pirate and wanting to participate in everything, please continue to do so. Don't think this is anything against you personally. The people that were doing it, you know who you are. And yeah, just don't do that. I mean, I get it if you're exuberant and, you know, you're like, wow, I'll get a free pattern and a minder just for signing up. No, you don't get that just for signing up. You get that because you want to be a pirate. That's what that pattern and the minder was for. So, yeah, a group within a group. So, yeah, I was really angry there for a little while. And, you know, I think that kind of added to whatever the ennui was that I was going through during January and February. So, I was, you know, for our cross-stitch community being so wonderful all the time, usually wonderful, there's always one or two out there who, for maybe they're having a bad day, maybe something they read or think about that day just strikes them wrong, and they just got to come at you, you know. I don't know. So let's everybody calm down. Winter was hard. We're just gonna leave it at that. So, but yeah, when that comes back on free pattern and minder, I'll let you know. Of course, the stitching pirates on DeviantArt will know first because that's where they are. And I'll even post it on the Stitching Pirates group on Facebook. But please keep in mind, you cannot be a member on the Stitching Pirates Facebook group unless you're actually a member on Stitching Pirates on DeviantArt first. Because all that Facebook group is just an extension of the main place that we go to do our group stuff. So that's what I mean by a group within a group. So anyway, what's coming up next? I should be stitching up, what month is April, Neglected Floss. I'll be stitching that up. And I don't know, some of you may have noticed, I've been naming my biscornu after flowers. Like this one is March Gladius. Is it Gladius or Gladiolus? It's one of the few flowers I could find that had that looked similar to this with green petals. So I'll give you a clue though for April, Allium. And those are cool flowers. And when you see the biscornu, you'll understand. You'll be like, oh, it does. It even took the designer by surprise. She was like, oh, I see what you mean. So I've been deliberately looking at the pattern and trying to figure out what flower that looks like. So every month we get a different flower. So, and what's after that? Probably finishing up the last of I have fabric and batting all cut up and ready to be sewn together, so I'll finish that up and then sit down and start sewing up my little and if I can crank out a few more things. I would like to have, you know, more than 3 items in my store before I open my Etsy store. That's why it's taking so long, and you know, it's a little stressful. I want to open it. I want to open it right now, but I'm not ready. So when the time is right, I'll be ready. And then these bad boys can be in your home, on your armchair, holding your floss where it's supposed to be and not on your shirt or on your sock as you walk around the house, because, you know, everything attracts it and then takes it away. And, you know, I got to tell you, this floss and like the Jody Refloss and Color and Cotton, oh my gosh. Dinky dyes, these aren't cheap. So if you're working on a project and you just need, I don't know, the last 4 plies of whatever you have left on your floss, and it's suddenly gone, and you don't have pets that like to eat your floss, well, now you got to check everywhere. You probably vacuumed it up, if you bothered to vacuum. I know I don't. I usually wait, and then when it's all done, I'm like, okay, now it doesn't matter, you know. But I'm a naughty person, I guess. Happily vacuuming up floss, you know. It's only the orts, you know. It's not like big gobs of it. Mostly. I don't know. Anyway, so that's all the yammering I have to do today. Hopefully I can start doing, let's look at the calendar. Today is, what did I say today was? Friday the 23rd. Yeah, so maybe, oh, April Fool's Day. April Fool's. But it's also Easter Sunday. So I might do a video on Easter Sunday just because I can, but I'm not going to make any promises. It just depends on how things go that day. So because it is a family holiday, I know here in town they'll probably have some kid functions going on at the high school, so it may potentially be really noisy with screaming children. So we'll see. Wouldn't that be a nice background noise? You know, screaming children. Okay, so I think that's all I have for this time. I know I will have some fun announcements about unconventional cross stitch next time. My girl Jody has, and I'm not talking about Satsuma Street Jody, I'm talking about a different Jody, and this is unconventional cross stitch, not Satsuma Street, but unconventional cross stitch. My girl Jody has been doing some things, and I am really excited to announce that once it's ready. So she's working really hard on it right now, and let's see. Ashley over at Make It Pink, Pinky the Pink, she is currently working on the next Muka seasons, because I have spring. I believe she's working on summer. I can't remember anything today. It's horrible, but so pretty soon that should be out. You need to go check out her store because, oh, this is very important. Go to Etsy, go to Make It Pink, because the sets of princesses, like Merida, I can't remember the sets. So it would be Merida, who's in the set? Whoever's in Merida's set. The artist, Hannah Alexander, has extended it so that more copies could be made. So there are more of the Muka Disney patterns, the princess patterns. So you could get Snow White, you could get Aurora, my favorite. You could get Pocahontas, Mulan. I mean, seriously, I'll put the link down below. Go look because it's awesome. And of course, Merida, very pretty. Tinkerbell. I don't know if Tinkerbell's really a princess, though, is she? But the pattern is glorious. Oh, yes. Sparkly, pretty, just adorable. So, gosh, I think that's it for announcements, too. So, all right. Not a bad job after not doing Floss Tube for, some time. 2 months. Oh, God, 2 months. Holy moly. Okay, I'm so sorry for those of you that worry about that. Where is she? Where are my videos? I don't think I've ever gotten a comment like that, but I have a feeling that Christine will probably make a comment because she's that snarky. It's about time. Who else would say something? Oh gosh, there's no telling. Probably Ingborg, Or you just being lazy? I don't know. So, yeah. Okay. And Ingborg, just a side note, especially for you, or anybody who does this, I found some people say that they speed up the videos so, they can go through it faster. And I don't mind if you do. I don't mind at all. You speed right through my boring bits. I don't care. Pretty easy. It's just Floss Tube. Come on. I mean, I know a lot goes into it, but still. So, anyway. So until next time, my beautiful, beautiful people, check out the links below. Leave a beautiful comment. And in general, just have a lovely day, please. And keep on stitching.